Hello everyone and welcome to tapsoracoustic.com for a new guitar lesson in video. And today we're going to talk about motivation. More specifically about how to stay motivated. First thing first, motivation is a great thing. And many people might have told you that it's the key to learn any guitar or any instrument for that matter. However, I don't fully agree with that statement. Because you see, motivation can be a bit random at times. Sometimes you'll be motivated and you'll do many things, and that's great, that's awesome. But sometimes you're just not motivated that much. You don't really feel like it, Maybe you had a long day at work, or maybe you're motivated, but it's 1 a.m., you're trying to sleep and you can't really practice guitar at that time. So you can't really rely on motivation to properly work and practice your guitar. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. If you want to be a better guitarist, if you want to progress, to make real progress, you need to work, to practice. That's the key. That's the only thing that matters. And you can't rely on motivation to do that. So sometimes you have to force yourself. You need discipline. This is a lot more important than motivation. Because if you only rely on motivation, sometimes you just won't practice. And if you don't practice, you won't make progress. And if you don't, you'll be even less motivated to keep going. And after a while, you end up not playing guitar for months at a time. And that's not a great thing. That's not what I want you to do. I know that many people see guitar as something enjoyable, that you need to have fun with. And that's true. That's the goal, actually. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. But sometimes to achieve that goal, to get to the fun part, you need to make a bit of sacrifices. You need to work and force yourself just a tiny bit. So that's really important to keep in mind. When you're not motivated, you need to keep working. Of course, all of that applies only if you want to actually make progress. Some people are actually really content with what they can do already, so you don't need to force yourself at that point in time. But if you want to progress, if you want to be a better guitarist, you need to work and you need to have a bit of discipline. That being said, I still have a few tips and tricks to give you so that you can stay motivated and get the most out of your motivation the days you are motivated. So the first one, it's a really important one, it's to learn to be patient. Many things on guitar takes months to learn, even years sometimes. So it's not really a good idea to want to rush through things. It's really not a good idea. You need to take your time. And some people are naturally patient and they don't have any problem with that. Other people are kind of impatient. You need to be careful about that. Take a step back and learn to enjoy everything you do on your guitar every day. Don't just aim for one goal that's years away, because you'll get bored long before you reach it. So try to actually enjoy everything you do on your guitar. Another problem many guitarists face is that they don't really realize the progress they make. And it's a bit hard to see when you're practicing every single day to really see the very, very small and little details that gets improved on. So there's two simple things you can do to realize that. So the first thing is to write a logbook of everything you do on guitar. When you're practicing, you write everything down. When you're practicing a tune, a chord change, a scale, an exercise, write it down. So that in a few months' time, you can look back and realize everything you've made, every progress you've made. You can see that 3 months ago, you couldn't really play that fast on that scale, and now you can. So it's a great way to really see everything you do. Another thing is to record yourself. You don't have to have a home studio or something like this. Even a crappy phone would be enough. Just record yourself playing anything you're working on. And then, once again, in a few months' time, you can look back and listen or see what you did. And you realize that you were bad then, but you're good now. Well, not necessarily good, but better. This is an amazing way. This is probably the best way, by the way, to see the progress you make. Just compare a few recordings at a few month intervals, and you'll see there is no doubt that you made great progress between them. There is another way to get motivated, but it doesn't work with everyone. And the trick is to rely on other people's motivation. Because your motivation won't always be there, we talked about that. But other people will always be there, sometimes a bit too much, but there will always be other people around. So what you can do is talk to your friends or close family and tell them that you're working on guitar, that you're practicing that or that tune, that you're trying to achieve that goal. That way, when you see them, they will remind you of that. They will put a bit of pressure on you, like, oh, how far are you gone with that? How's it going, etc., etc. So some people react negatively to pressure. So if you don't like pressure, don't do that. But if you thrive under pressure, then do that. It's a great way to get a kick in the butt when you're feeling a bit down. The last tip I have for you is to practice something completely different from what you're working on right now. Because sometimes the lack of motivation stems from boredom, because you've been working on the same exercises, the same scale, the same tunes for months. And yeah, it sucks. After a while, you're just bored with that. You don't want anything to do with it. So instead of doing nothing, do something else. Go for a completely different musical style. So if you're working on rock music right now, play some jazz or funk or blues or classical. For once, you'll learn a lot of stuff by studying other musical style, and it will be fresh, it will be new, it will be exciting, it will be motivated. You'll be motivated with that. So yeah, instead of taking a break and not doing anything with the guitar, take a break with what you're working on and practice something completely different. And that's it for the lesson today. So I hope with those few tips, you'll get the most out of your motivation. And keep in mind that even when you're not motivated, if you want to get better, you need to practice anyway. There's no way around it. So with that being said, I remind you that you can find us on facebook.com/tapsforacousticen or on twitter.com/tapsforacousticen, and of course on tapsforacoustic.com. And I'll see you next time for another guitar lesson in video.